Boom! What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larsen. Welcome back to another episode of Sales Funnel Radio. Today I have a very cool special thing I want to share with you. First of all, I actually chopped out a little bit of an intro section that I did with my high-level students, which is very exciting, from my Offer Lab program. And then what I did is I wanted to bring in one other aspect to what I'm going to talk about today, and I took a recording from my OfferMind event. So we're actually going to go through two things here. The whole idea of this is I call it trimming the shoots. And the first piece is going to explain what that really means. And then the second piece, though, I just want you to know some more context behind what that really means. While this game is extremely fun, it is, can be kind of challenging. So anyways, I think you guys will really like this piece of it. It's two different events that I'm speaking at here, and I put these two different parts together. So I got my headphones here. But anyway, so we're going to cue the intro here, and then we'll just go straight into the two of them. I think you guys will enjoy it.
I've spent the last 4 years learning from the most brilliant marketers today. And now I've left my 9-to-5 to take the plunge and build my $1 million business. The real question is, how will I do it without VC funding or debt, completely from scratch? This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share marketing strategies to grow my online business, using only today's best internet sales funnels. My name is Steve Larsen, and welcome to Sales Funnel Radio.
When I was growing up, I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and when I was growing up, we lived in Littleton, Colorado. And when I lived in Littleton, Colorado, I don't know where you guys are all from. In fact, I'd love to know where you guys actually are from. But I remember growing up, my dad had me be the yard manager, and I told a little bit of this at OfferMind, which, by the way, was just an awesome event. So I'm excited to. Anyway, we're gonna go do it again. But anyway, so I was the obvious choice to be the yard manager, meaning I answered for all blades of grass. I answered for every weed. I answered for every, right? I was where the buck stopped. And I remember we had this tree, and the trees didn't do very well. They were these apple trees. We planted these 2 apple trees up on the side of the yard. It wasn't this massive yard, but it wasn't small either. It was a good size. And this tree, I remember the first time we planted these trees, they looked pretty sickly. All right, and these apple trees, they didn't really make much fruit. And what happened is, so we plant these trees, and I remember some time goes by, right? This first season goes by, and they're just taking root. And so a season goes by, they don't really produce much fruit, and that's kind of expected, right? There's a brand new tree. They're not going to make a lot of apples. I mean, they were as tall as I was. They weren't that big. Well, the next season, they are supposed to produce some fruit, right? But they didn't. And I was looking at these trees. I was like, how come these trees are not producing all this fruit? And my mom, incredible mother, right? She made me, incredible mom. But she likes to take these apples, which are not that awesome for like just straight eating, but they're like crazy good in apple pies and stuff, right? She wanted to go take these apples, and there weren't a lot of them. So I remember this one season, I was looking at these apple trees, and these apple trees, I'm looking at these things, and I realized that there were tons of shoots. There were so many shoots. There was the base, right? But then there were just like tons. There were like 2 or 3 or 4 main big trunks, parts of the trunk branching off, but then off of it were just like tons of these mini shoots all over. I mean, they were literally, there had to have been like 100 of these things, not like, no joke, okay, of these little tiny shoots, right? And I started looking at it, and I started realizing, I was like, oh my gosh, like, wait a second, this is why it's not producing fruit. It's got too many startups. So what I did is I went through and I broke off every single shoot from this apple tree that season at the end of the, as we started transitioning into fall. And I took off every single one of these shoots, and I broke them off, and I pruned the tree back. So it was only these main pieces with like a couple shoots, right? And what happened next year was crazy, okay? We go through winter, and it's Colorado. So Colorado, it snows like crazy, snows all over the place, and it's a lot of fun, but it's very snowy, right? And people get snowed in sometimes, and I miss that, frankly. It's one thing I don't like about Boise. I miss the snow. I mean, real snow, right? Lots of feet of snow. And anyway, So the winter goes by, and every once in a while I kind of glance at these trees, wondering how they're doing out there, and I go shake off the snow from them, and spring comes along, starts to warm up, and I love spring. Spring's like one of my favorite times ever. I love the transitions between all seasons. But anyway, I go and I start going back out to these trees, and I look to see, and those shoots are off, obviously, and I go and I break off the little buds where it's trying to grow additional ones. And by the end of that season, there were so many apples that it was breaking the tree. There were so many apples that this tree could not handle the amount of fruit. It is shocking to me how many apples were sitting on this thing. And the weight of it brought down all the branches, and it was almost snapping every single branch. I was like, holy crap, why did this happen? And I remember after we learned that, I pruned everything in the yard. And I got maybe a little prune happy, but I started cutting back and chopping everything. And the next year after that was just like this incredible yard. And there's a lesson with that. And it sounds obvious, but I'm bringing this at the very beginning of Offer Lab to tell you that you gotta prune. Prune the shoots. All right. I have coached so many people in this. I'm nearing 30,000 people. All right. And what happens is when I teach these principles, as it should, it stimulates the mind. And the mind goes, oh my gosh, I could do this and 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 this shoot, this shoot, this shoot, this shoot. And I go to all these shoots. And what's the problem with that? None of them grow, and the tree doesn't produce any fruit, and you don't get anywhere. Okay, and so this whole program, like, I understand that what I'm teaching is dead sexy, and it is 100% like real. It works. You've got to prune. You have to prune. Okay, I want you to do Offer Lab with one idea. You need one trunk. That's it. Don't think like, hey, I'm going to do this one in Offer Lab, and I'm going to go do all these other shoots as well on the side. Doesn't work like that. Okay. Now, I'll tell you right now, I do a little bit more of that, but it's only because I have a team. Right? I have a team. I'm not the only one doing all my stuff. I don't have and I've done this a lot, right? A lot, way more than the average person. So please lean into the fact that it's very hard to be pulling this off when you're going to be like, shoot, 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 shoot. And I remember I invited a few personal friends that are struggling to OfferMind. Okay. And I said, why don't you come to OfferMind? And they are probably on idea 6 or 7, which is understandable. No judgment, where we've all been there, right? And you probably have as well. And they came to OfferMind, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool. I know you're working on that idea. Come on in, learn the stuff from OfferMind, and start to apply the things, and you will make more money, right? And so what I did was I reached back out to them once the event was over. Like, how'd it go? They're like, good, but now we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we do this. I was like, no, we're at the shoots. Stop. What are you doing? Right? Cut that crap out, literally. To make a decision means to cut away all other options. That's what the word means. It actually means to cut away all other options. Decide what the one thing will be. Anyway, I don't want to keep beating that, but that's the reality of this thing. You're not gonna make it if you come into this program and you get like bam, 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 one idea. Now, I'm not saying that like halfway through you're like, you know what? I actually want to go do this other idea. That's okay. That's very much okay. Okay, that happens to me all the time. We just course correct and we make a pivot. Okay, but I'm just telling you, this program's it's gonna be very challenging if you have tons of things you're trying to do at once, and if you're pivot. All right.
When my wife and I got married again, you all know the story. We had nothing. How many of you guys have ever been in that scenario? Yeah. Not fun, right? Not fun at all. Money isn't bad or neutral. It's good, right? You know how greedy you get when you're broke? Way more greedy than when I've made a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna break a lot of beliefs around cash with this, because that was the biggest thing, one of the largest things I had to re-break and reframe and rebuild a belief for me around was money itself. It's why I do the capitalist pig thing. It's like Batman, right? He's afraid of bats, became Batman. I was like, I'll become the capitalist pig, right? Which has gotten a lot of negative flack, but kind of like brings me pleasure. So, but it started way back in the day when I was nervous to charge even $50 for an hour of consulting. I haven't even graduated from college for 4 years yet. Okay? And it's not, I don't want anyone to think like, whoa, he's talking about himself again. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But understand that the pattern I'm going to share with you comes from hundreds of funnels at ClickFunnels, hundreds of funnels of my personal students, and is the culmination of ridiculous levels of stress and anxiety. Okay, and I'm excited because you don't have to go through that. Okay, we got it really, 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 really simple, and which I'm stoked about. So I went and we got married. I had nothing, and started trying to figure out ways to make money. And it was like, try, fail, right? Try, yeah, this is gonna be the one. Nothing, oh, here we go. And, and understandably, loved ones ask after a while, which I'm sure you've all had the question, right? Is this the one that's gonna work? And you're like, yeah, ain't nothing but a thing, right? I got this. When I did not have it, right? And I had no idea if it was gonna work. And you're on a prayer and hope, just like, oh my gosh, please make this be the one. I remember I was probably 2 years in, still, it was my obsessive focus to try to figure this out. And I remember sitting I went to a place called BYU, Idaho. That's where I went to college. And I was sitting on a couch in a freezing apartment, and it was like 2 a.m. And I remember just like kneeling down and just begging God to help. And that was really hard. And I know some of you guys have been in that place. It's not planning on talking about that. But it was rough. How many of you have been there? Yes. And you're like, it's not that I won't do it, but what is it? Right? Yep. What is it? And I remember I was trying like crazy, and we were spending money, frankly, we probably didn't have, and I thought it was about that. And there's the greater the risk, the greater reward, which is garbage, by the way. Okay? And all the stuff that I was trying, it was like nothing was working. We were not making any money, and I was like, I gotta hold my feet to the fire here. Like, what do I need? More pressure? I'm gonna become like 5,000 diamonds. I mean, holy smokes, I'm under so much pressure, right? And we're living on loans, and I remember we were living on, I think it was $3,400 we'd get for every 3 months of living or something like that, right? Along with, and that wasn't, we'd pay for rent and pay for all the stuff, and we was like, I'm not joking about going to the dollar menu date night thing, right? Like, we would do that stuff, and I remember the first time, like borrowing this cash and trying to go. Anyways, it was when I was saying that prayer. Please help. I believe, and I don't know what you believe, and I'm okay with that, but what I believe is that God cares and that He is willing to help. But the answer isn't always, here it is on try one. You're gonna go through 34, son. Right? And I'm gonna mold you into something that you would not become on your own willingly. And there's no way I'd be doing this right now. Okay, even 3 years ago, I had huge levels of anxiety speaking with people. Huge levels. It was a real thing. And when those first few episodes of Sales Fun Radio, who's actually listened to them? Yeah. Right? They're kind of crappy, right? And that's okay. After a while, I was like, I surrender. Just tell me what to do. And Russell's like, publish. And I was like, no, that can't be the answer. Right? And Russell's like, no, you should really publish. No, that's probably not the thing. Let me go figure out more of this stuff. I want to distract myself with other skill sets, please. Okay, sweet. Let's come over here. You know what I'm talking about? We've all done it, right? And suddenly I started publishing and started finding my voice. All right, and suddenly I started taking these steps, and like little bit of light started showing up. Beep. It was tiny, but it was out there. Right, and this little thing, piece by piece, started coming across. Okay, the family though is where it all started, and there's things that I just would not have done, including this, if it hadn't been for, the lovelies. I call them the ladies. My ladies, my 3 little girls, and my amazing wife. By the way, it would be very hard to be married to me. Think about what she's had to go through. I'm serious, right? Think about that. For years, not knowing, is this kid just psycho? You know what I mean, though? He's got giant eyeballs. Go get a job. Imagine what I joke to kind of relieve the pressure on that statement, but you understand what I'm saying, how much she's had to go through. Can we please give a round of applause to my wife?
Alrighty.
Boom. If you're just starting out, you're probably studying a lot. That's good. You're probably geeking out on all the strategies also, right? That's also good. But the hardest part is figuring out what the market wants to buy and how you should sell it to them, right? That's also what I struggled with for a while until I learned the formula. So I created a special mastermind called an offer mind to get you on track with the right offer and, more importantly, the right sales script to get it off the ground and sell it. Want to come? There's small groups on purpose so I can answer your direct questions in person for 2 straight days. You can hold your spot by going to offermind.com. Again, that's offermind.com.